Welcome YouTube to part 3 of the Dark Hammer theme deck, where we're going to use the entire collection to try to make a deck that's viable in standard meta. This is the current deck as it was, and there's using just the free cards. It has some problems with specific cards, so what we're going to try to do is we're going to slow down the deck as it is, and we're going to make it so that it can handle some of these higher cost cards. First card that we're going to look out for is Plasma Freeze Espeon. It's been run a lot recently as a counter to Lucario and Mewtwo EX. It's a very fast card to get out, and it can deal some major damage to us because our benched Pokemon, namely Machamp and Hariyama, are weak to Psychic Energy. Mewtwo EX and Yveltal EX are really strong against us, as our attacks are based off 3 cost energy. That means that they can one-shot us, which is very bad because I will not be able to use them, and it won't be cost efficient for me to use these attacks. Landorus EX is also a problem, as it's one of the strongest Pokemon in the format. It has an attack called Hammerhead, which allows you to deal 30 damage, which with a strong energy attached is now 50, with a muscle band is now 70, to the active Pokemon, and deal 30 to the bench. This makes it so that in 2 hits it can knock out 2 Pokemon, which is something I just can't recover from. Seismitoad EX is a strong card against us because we rely a lot on Stage 1 Pokemon, and we rely on our items to get those Stage 1 Pokemon out, so it's something that we have to look at. In order to deal with the threats from the previous page, we're going to have to sacrifice some of the cards in our current deck. I've decided to remove the 3 Kangaskhan because they are a free prize in the late game, and which is very bad, especially against decks that are competitive. 2 Hitmonlee has a similar problem. It acts as a blocker, and we no longer can afford to have blockers. So we're going to sacrifice these 5 Pokemon in order to have a card such as Mahita and Pancham start off strong. Scrafty line I always thought was bad, so we're going to upgrade to a better dark line. And we're also going to sacrifice 1 Pancham in order to have another card, which is kind of needed. Some trainers were also removed. As we're dealing with 1-hit knockouts, Pokemon Center Lady I didn't find very useful. Hard Charm faces a similar problem. Instead, we're going to trade the Hard Charm for a better item. Pokemon Fan Club is not required, as we no longer need the fast starts, so we're going to sacrifice that for better cards. We had to get rid of 2 Tirino and 2 Fighting Energy in order to add some more cards, so those had to go as well. Pokemon that we added were Raichu line in order to counter the Yveltal. If you're not having a problem with Yveltal, you can add in a Cubchoo line with Beartick to counter the Landorus. This is probably the better line, but I like the Raichu line because Raichu has free retreat. Kecleon is added because it's a cheap way of getting rid of Mewtwo. Mewtwo is a very big problem to our deck, so we have to find some way to counter it. Kecleon is my answer. It's a very bad answer, but it does work. Machamp and Hariyama were added to add some stability to the deck. It makes it so that I no longer have to worry about one of them being prized and having my entire plan fall through. So it's very good. Also, they can now die without me being particularly worried, because I know that somewhere in my deck there's probably another one. Malamar line is the strictly better darkness line than Scrafty. It can stall better, and with the good setup, you can have a 75% chance of not being hit with the Malamar. We also added 1 Mindfu because Mindfu is pretty good, because then you can have a continuous line of Mindshao into the active slot. These are the trainers that we added. We added 1 Evo Soda, 1 Rare Candy, 2 Ultra Ball. This allows us to get the Pokemon out quickly. 2 Muscle Band were added because they're the better item that I was talking about. 2 Lysanders because Lysander puts your opponent in a position they don't necessarily want to be. So Lysander allows you to stall. It also allows you to knock out Pokemon that they're trying to save. 1 Colress because Colress is the better draw card in the late game. We're now focusing more on the late game than necessarily the early game, so Colress is better than Tierno in this slot. This is what the deck looks like now that it's all finished. I've had some relative success with this, so now what we're going to do is we're going to play a game. This was a game between me, Fuzzycow, and my opponent, Dansul. Both decks did what we wanted to do, and so it turned out to be a very good game with a very close finish. I'm telling him right now that I'm recording it, I'm informing him of the situation, and I'm asking if he's willing to allow me to post this. My starting hand is a Machop and a Mahita. I don't really like putting Machop out because I'm hoping to turn him into a Machamp, so I put out Mahita. As you can see, my hand allows me to get out my Hariyama next turn, so I feel pretty good about that. I especially like the pickup of Mindfu off the draw because Mindfu combo is pretty good. I like the Mindshroud Mindfu combo. He puts out a Litleo, a Charizard, and a Finnegan. This means that his deck is pretty heavy into fire. Doesn't necessarily mean anything, but I'm not going to worry about the Pyroar because my deck is mostly Stage 1 Pokemon. The thing I do have to worry about though is his Finnegan and his Charizard. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go forward with the plan. I'm going to get out my Hariyama and make that Finnegan not a problem anymore. I also have a lot of energy in my hands, so with this pickup of the Sycamore, I have the decision of whether I want to sacrifice all this energy and get some good acceleration or move a little bit slower and see what I get. The ball is in my opponent's court, so we're going to see what happens and make our decision based off that. He sends out his Charizard, which I'm hoping he doesn't have a fire energy to, because, well, he has the Bianca, so that means he pretty much has the fire energy. He's also getting the Pyro out. This is probably done for deck thinning purposes, because he has no use for the Pyro against my deck. He does, unfortunately, get the heads on the stroke, so he's able to fire up his Charizard and make it a threat. The Charizard will knock out my Hariyama, so I have to prepare a second Pokemon. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stall using this Lysander and get this Pyroar down so that I can get the energy attached and get the best hands possible, and hopefully move forward and have an answer by the time I finish this Pyroar. I'm looking at Charizard to make sure I know what he does. I was kind of confused by the protection cube, but that's okay. He doesn't necessarily use it now. It doesn't mean he's not going to use it. So as you can see, I draw a rare candy, I toss the rare candy, and I get an answer. My answer here is Pangoro. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to knock out the Pyroar, get my Machamp out of the prize pool, and try to power up this Pangoro. I do have the double colors attached to the Mind Shao, so I'm going to have to use Arrow Turn with Mind Shao eventually, but hopefully I will have an answer. I might draw one, and that's what I'm hoping for. I don't draw one. I use the Current to get the Machoke out. I'm searching my deck now to see if there's anything better for me to get, especially for the item. I don't really know what my item's going to be, but I find that I don't have a rare candy, so I'm going to settle for the Machoke. And then my item, I don't really care. I'm just going to get the Evo Soda so I can thin my deck a little. That's the answer I'm going to choose. So I get the Evo Soda, I evolve some stuff, and the Mind Shao is better than the Malamar, because the Malamar, you want to have the confused Pokemon first for Malamar, I think. So I'm going to Rocket Slap, deal some damage. Now I will be able to knock out this Charizard EX no matter what. So again, I feel like I have the most power in this situation. He decides that he's going to use his Mystical Fire from Delafox to grab a new hand while also having that Charizard Y. He evolves the Charizard Y, which is a surprise. So I'm going to get some more free damage on him. This is good for me because it allows me some time, and with that time I'm going to power up this Machoke. I'm deciding whether or not I'm going to retreat with Hariyama, but I think that's just way too much energy sacrificed. So I'm just going to try to power up the Machoke and get a new plan to knock out this Charizard. Things are going okay. This new edition of Charizard Y is a little scary, but still he has nothing else powered up on the bench, and now he's kind of being annoying with his healing up the Charizard Y. I kind of see how this deck's going now, and I'm worried. If he can keep healing up his Charizard Y, I will run out of answers for it, and he'll be able to knock out a Pokemon every turn. So this was done basically just to get out this double colorless from the Mind Shao. I'm going to sacrifice my Inkay because Inkay is not going to serve a purpose. If I draw a Darkness Energy and he survives, then it will serve a purpose. Otherwise, this is the best purpose I can find for it. So he's going to start powering up his other Charizard EX, and he's going to get another Super Potion because that's what his deck does. The Super Potion doesn't actually change the math, so I'm not as worried about this one. If he knocks out this Inkay, I'm going to get him next turn. He sees that, and so he decides to be smart and not knock out the Inkay. He's going to use the opportunity to get another Charizard Y. This was a great move by my opponent. I think I can't talk highly enough about this move, so my plan is to just move forward and get that Machamp powered up, because there's nothing else I can do. Next turn I can retreat the Inkay and get the fully powered Pangoro up there to knock out this Charizard Y. So he decides that it's no longer worth it to stall. And I'm going to use this time to power up my bench a little, pray that I have an answer, and dig for it. So I don't know what I'm going to grab here. I honestly have no plan. I'm thinking about Pikachu, but I see this Landorus, and I say Landorus works great. Not only does it have the Machamp, but it also does some damage, and the damage will be pretty good. It's actually enough damage to survive, so I'm pretty happy I grabbed that one. Everything else would require me to get another card, so another bit of luck. But Landorus is a set answer, so I really like this. The Pangoro goes up, knocks out the Charizard. Everything's going according to plan. He knocks out my Pangoro. I still have the prize lead, so this race isn't over yet, and I'm ready to go. Everything's going pretty well. My Shao combo is going to break here because I don't have... It's not going to survive the Mega Charizard Y. So, I mean, I have to sacrifice it. He keeps powering up, though. He also started powering up a Delphox, which is a big problem. I'm not too worried because all my Pokemon have high health, and Delphox takes a little while to get powered up. So I think I'll be okay. I'm able to power up this Machamp really, really hard, which is nice. Maybe putting out the Mienshao and the Machoke is a mistake in case of a Lysander, but it's out of habit that I do this. So now he knocks out my Landorus. This I wasn't expecting. Because I have no answer, I'm just going to put my Machamp out and say good game, game's over. But I do get the Lysander. I'm able to knock out the Charizard. This was a great game. Thank you, Dansul, and I hope you enjoyed the video.